Hey everybody, what's good? Thank you for joining me for episode 4 of Poetic's Corner. After hearing that intro, I think it most fitting that I recite the lyrics for Empress. Now, while I have these memorized, I don't want to biff it anywhere along the line, so I'm going to reference the lyrics. Was the prophecy forewarned from pages torn by the candlelight underneath the guise of the scorned? From the morning she was born, she stayed true to her form. They watched her rise up to power as they knelt by the throne. The oracles predicted and then carved into stone the scriptures of the greatest one who would ever be known. Her legacy was idolized, her hand became the prize until the night they took her life beneath the black skies. The Christ became the tigress with the flow compromised. Her body emerged as the crescent when she met her demise. For every tongue that lied and each betrayer who tried, she would take it all in stride because you could see it in her eyes. The plot thickened from the beginning, so it was told. The majestic, intrepid woman who would never grow old, wrapped in linens with gold trimmings and the attitude bold, with the empire of desire worth 10,000-fold. Envious enough to shed her blood in the cold, her predecessors never got their chance to console. Her troubled soul they didn't know were never aware of the kingdom's plan to sacrifice her life with great care. Adherent to the prophecy precisely prepared, no one knew it could be stopped, but no one would dare. The cheers of triumph radiated throughout the lair, her spirit shaped the atmosphere and her breath to the air. Clearly a travesty of a goddess so fair, the clairvoyant tell that one day all her people would share. The temple lights would flicker and the lightning bolts would strike. The silent tension shattered all across the land that night. Like shards of glass she couldn't pass before she couldn't fight. Some say she knew but wouldn't escape for fear of who would sight. Yet she confessed the truth was in a letter she would write. Although dismayed, she prayed the scrolls would one day see the light. The story couldn't remain untold, the weight was too great. How could she fight for her life when her kingdom was at stake? Young in age but wise in years, don't make the mistake. Her beauty shielded by her fear until the day it was too late. Every suspicion risen, and the attempt she contemplate drove her to hesitate, because they already sealed her fate. And in the late of the night, and by the light of the moon, with the blackest ink and papyrus, she had penned out her doom. Adjacent lakes like pools of blood they'd all witness soon. The wind was still, but still she felt a chill within the room. Just the thought of futuristic monuments and tombs created in her honor let her terror become true. She disappeared around the corridor, but couldn't hide. Cautiously, she hid the note unseen by all eyes. Some day it would resurface and the world would realize that her rule had been prestigious, but a plan had been devised to strip her of her duties as the empress of that time. The commissine was coming and her reign was to decline. Preparing for the ritual had long since been designed, and it made it even harder for her to keep a peace of mind. Sleepless nights, no will to fight, but courage to comply. I knew she'd never ask it, but she'd always wonder why. As a servant and companion, I had no place to pry. I joined her in the temple that night and then into the next life. It was my fulfilling duty, and I simply couldn't deny. Still, I felt upset knowing she'd expect to die. We never spoke of the kismet, but still this trust was present. For her it was deception, yet for me the best of blessings. Her strength and her acceptance extended like a lesson. Empress by definition, woman by impression. Left no doubts and no regrets, my peace at her discretion. She drifted off to sleep and there was nothing left to question. Years leading up to this, and now the time had come. Facing fears, no tears, she would reluctantly succumb. Heart pounded like a drum because she knew what she'd become, a legend after her ascension to the gods of the sun. Suddenly the sky turned black. The moons aligned as one. By this time tomorrow her dominion would be done. Side by side in silence down the corridor we walked, made our way to the temple, then she turned to me and paused. At first her eyes looked empty, her features without flaws. You don't accept the sacrifice, who you accept the cause. The words I heard the Empress say made me want to applause. As we reached the ceremony site, I stopped at what I saw. Ivory candlesticks were lit, the glow that they emit. The stones with ancient script depicted what I simply couldn't predict. Descriptive verbiage admits that on this night her neck will slit. The rooms adored with golden gifts and lotuses were freshly picked. Altar with the knife of flint to take her life. Yes, this was it. Bit by bit, submit to fit. This was the crime that they commit. One soul afflicted with the pain the other couldn't sense. The crowd looked on and how they longed to cheer at her expense. Suspense accumulated as the rite was to commence. Bowls of burden bloodshed, she surrendered her defense. Incense burned. My spirit yearned and prayed she wouldn't distress. Alas, we'd seen the rise and fall, the greatest one of all, Empress. Ooh, ooh-wee. Shout out to Lazy Boy Productions, LB on that beat. Yeah, that was a dope song. One of our first songs together, Empress, Lady Poetic and LB. Those are nice lyrics, man. I always like that. All right, so cheers, and once again, welcome to Poetic's Corner, episode 4. Start off with a poem or some lyrics, and then we dive into story time. All right, story time. Once upon a time, a young LP decided she wanted to get more into recording, and I needed some recording equipment. And at the time, I was chopping it up with DJ Karma Infinite. Shout out to DJ KI, who would ship me my first set of equipment so I could record. And I still have it, so I wanted to show that off to you. All right, my first M audio interface. and he labeled where to put things, so I knew how to use it. And my first Rode microphone, what's this? NT1000. Look at that. All right. So he shipped these things to me. Thank you, DJKI. And also the software, the Audacity software, which is still what I use today when I record at home. All right. Very cool. All right. And speaking of DJ Karma Infinite, fast forward now, nearly 20 years later, and we are working again on a track. There's only so much I'm going to be able to say about this at this point in time. It's still very surreal to me. But yes, we are doing a collaboration track, 6 MCs, engineered by Azimuth, Lord Zero on the ones and twos. So shout out to J-Pun, DJ Karma Infinite, Wilkshake, D Derms, Lady Poetic, and our very special feature artist. Really excited to unveil this one to the world. Ooh, all right. We're right around the corner from this one, y'all. So please stay tuned for that. Okay. Yeah, a lot of us go back a long way, really into the hip hop thing. And it just feels really awesome to be collaborating with the crew once again. All right. And Wilkshake and I got some more tracks on the way for you. Speaking of which, this past week, okay, we've just been putting out a barrage of music because we just want to just put it out there and flood the world with art because it really needs it more than ever right now. And that was the whole premise of We Need Your Art. So there's, no matter what's been going on in the history of the world during times of strife or discord, there's always been some kind of art movement to coincide with that. So this is what I want to be a part of because I want to shed some light and some enlightenment or some enjoyment, creativity, humor, whatever the case may be. Just something to brighten your day, something to maybe have you think about something or inspire you, whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to add a little bit more to Storytime. Last month I wrote, recorded, and then just really dropped within a short amount of time this track, We Need Your Art. Okay. Over an original beat. We got a remix coming on that. Don't worry about it. It's all in the grand scheme of things. That one's right around the corner too. And when I recorded it on a Friday, and the very next Saturday I did a performance for a private event, and then I kicked that song. I performed it live, right? And somebody came up to me right after I performed it and said, I walked in and I heard you doing this song, and it gave me chills. Yes, it's a win right there. And then a few days later, one of my colleagues came up to me and he said, I heard We Need Your Art. And he hands me a vase, a handmade vase that he had molded and fired in his own kiln. And it could be used as like, a vase for flowers or a water pitcher, pen holder, numerous things, right? But he brought me like a physical piece of art that he had made because he heard We Need Your Art. And we do, folks. We need your art more than anything. So I'm just really excited to be continuing to put the art out there and to have this be one of the biggest focuses in my life. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like my career, my family, my artwork, my outdoor activities, just trying to stay balanced. And that's one of the biggest things in this day and age, right? Is just playing Tetris and trying to stay balanced, trying to stay healthy, keep a good moral code, and keep grinding, man. Sticking to the music. That's right. Okay. All right. Next segment of Poetic's Corner, we're going to get into Spin a Song. So the song that I want to spin for you all today is Night, one of the installations from the Infinity Files. This is LB Productions, Amol Sidhu, Wilkshake, and myself, Lady Poetic. All right. So we now have all 6 files that we have recorded. They are out there in the world. YouTube Music is the first place that I would check. I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel here, Infinity Files. All 6 tracks are up there. Okay, so enjoy Night.
This is Wilkshake, LB, LP, Animal. The Mystics, the full-blown Majestics. When life gets tough, you need some equipment. Beats and bars with a mole on the board. Speaking our truth and reliving our scars. We got nice cars and we're pretty well off. But back in the day, we were poor with a cough. It started with sloth, branched into mystique. Neck deep in rhyme schemes, sun tanning on the beach. Soaked in bleach with a raspy beak. Started as a leech, then turned into a peach. Spoons of screech, an audience to please. Staying so true, I practice what I preach. Immortal technique, and can I bust on the phones? 400-pound stones carried up to our thrones. We own all this, and we got plenty to spare. LP the Lion
Showman, officiator, obstinate mayor, hesitating for a favor. Subterranean professionals, positing majors. Players cherry-picked and climbing up the stairs. One way to go, but every vantage point is different. Forcing poison growth, then candidly admit it. Portray who wants the most, then add this to revisit. Storybooks with pages worn and bindings frail and rigid. It's frigid and cold, out on limbs growing old. Like memories of yesterday, an outcast in the fold. Truth be told, these bars tend to come off the dome, then carving out like sculptures any inept idioms. Untoward but all aboard as we negotiate to shores. Rhythmically dissecting lines from notes down to the chords. Spurting out with purpose, each shoulder touched by swords. Reverse the inertia, pressure gauges scream like condors.
Condors at night.
Condors at night.
Winning every single fight.
Winning every single fight.
We're old school and it shows.
We're old school and it shows.
That's just the way that it goes.
That's just the way that it goes.
Condors at night.
Condors at night.
Winning every single fight.
Winning every single fight.
We're old school and it shows.
We're old school and it shows.
That's just the way that it goes.
That's just the way that it goes.
All right, thanks for listening to one of our new songs, Night. Amol Sadu on the engineering and singing the hook, Wilkshake and myself on the lyrics. Okay, and LB Productions, of course, on all the beats on the Infinity Files. Cheers, fellas. It was a pleasure. All right, looking forward to the next project. Okay, so before we round things out for the episode, I would like to kick one more poem, and then we'll do an outro track. Okay, so thank you everybody for tuning in today. I'm going to put in another plug for the Lady Poetic Principle, Volume 2. All right, this is my author copy. I am going to get some official copies. The shipment should probably be here in a few days, at which point I will start uploading it for purchase on Bandcamp. So yes, get ahead of the game, follow me on Bandcamp, or at least stay tuned for a plug for the merchandise link when that's available, okay? My books, my poetry books are probably my best-selling merchandise item. I'm terrible at promoting things, but this is my plug for that. Okay, so stay tuned, and it will be available on Amazon for purchase October 1st. Okay, so I'm going to kick a poem for us, and then we'll get into an outro track for the evening. Lift up. Hoist up the trophy, raise up the gauntlet. Voices grow boldly, amazing and honest. Choices can only bring praise from the conscious. Noises will slowly rephrase a new promise. Lift up your spirits, each bar penned in splendor. Gift us with merit, each star sends a measure. Swift, tough, and fearless, reach farther than ever. Winning, come cheer us on, seek harder forever. Rooted in grace, polished by grit, smoothed by the pace, obstacles bit by bit. Soothing in taste, spotless with wit. Groove to the base, populace, witness this. Making our way towards the apex each day. Facing and paying it forward, so we say. Obtaining the basics in more complex ways. Gaining what makes us a force, next in play. MCs inspire to lift this up higher. Send me in riffs to run up and admire. Friendly, committed, entire, breathe fire. Lend me your ears and hearts down to the wire. Irrespective of circumstances, don't you give up. Here we're reflective, take chances to lift up. We are collective, enhancing's a must. Give me life, gift me lyrics. In hip-hop I trust. In one God I trust. All right, let's go, y'all. Let's go. Let's get it. Outro track coming your way. Poetic's Corner, episode 4. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit that notification. We've got some more material coming your way. All right. Peace and blessings to you all. Cheers.
Hot summer nights, mid-July like Lana. Sitting poolside, chilling in the cabana. Bonfire high, smoking like she's on fire. Holla at me lately, I'll be down by the water. Fly fishing, wishing summer wasn't slipping through my fingers. Envisioning spitting rhymes with bright lights and backup singers. Casting, reeling in. Surface splashes for the wind. Can of worms, extra lime, put your wrist into the spin. Now we're talking doo-up, walking, chasing a grin. Catch this one for me, Mars, I've already pulled the pin. Sitting lakeside riverbanks, high tide. Footprints in the sand, salty glows and seasides. Ride with me, boys of summer cruising down the I, 94 through 96. Oh, how I cried. Like cakes, I'm missing you, like it's 1999. Summer forever, y'all, and it feels so fine.